An LSU jersey has got 5 on it, and Jayden Daniels not happy.
That's going to cost money.
He wore number 5 when he won the Heisman for the Tigers in 2023. He sent a cease and desist telling LSU, stop using my name, image, and likeness. If you're going to give my number to somebody else. A spokesman said the Daniels family, quote, is deeply disappointed and profoundly disrespected. Lane Kiffin said the player, DJ Pickett, was promised number 5 when he came to LSU, even though he wore number 3 last year.
Yeah.
Jayden Daniels currently in the NFL for the Commanders, coach, and they've got games coming up. Your reaction to this not lawsuit, but this drama?
Cease and desist. Yeah.
I'm so disappointed. If this is what you're thinking about, it's a problem. Like, what do you care? And Dev, you looked at LSU's history. They retired jerseys of 4 former players: Billy Cannon, Tommy Casanova, Jerry Stovall, and running back Charles Alexander. And Cannon, he won the first Heisman Trophy in 1959. Okay, that's the track record. It's not like they've retired other recent excellent LSU players. That's the list. Yeah. And they have a whole process on how they do it. So
he's not even eligible.
And you're not at LSU. You're at Washington, and you're coming off a pretty mediocre season. And why do you care? And who's part of your team? And who's telling you this is important? And what name are you losing money on your name, image, and likeness from LSU? Like of all the things to worry about right now, this has 0 relevance.
Yeah, I have to agree. Like, I like Jayden a lot, and I'm disappointed in this. And now he did release a statement on Instagram. That is I like the statement.
He's focused, but his team has got to protect him.
But that being said, he is having to write Instagram statements and release them a few weeks before the season.
Now look, he shouldn't really be paying attention to this at all. But if it came out that Joe Burrow, several players had, or even one player, wanted to wear Joe Burrow's number 9, which he wore, when he left LSU after they won it in 2019. And they denied it. No, you can't wear Joe Burrow's number. Then I could get his team being like, well, why are you letting them wear Jayden's number? They both won Heisman's. I know Burrow won the national championship. But still, they both won Heisman. Like, I fully expect Jayden Daniels' number to be retired there, and Joe Burrow's and maybe Justin Jefferson, but he's not eligible yet.
There's only been 4 cats with retired jerseys.
Right, but he's not eligible. You have to wait 5 years. But he's been, winning the Heisman. Only 3 guys have won it. It's Billy Cannon, Jayden, and Burrow. So I think it'll be retired. But they have a rule that if a player whose jersey is retired post-2007, they still will give the number out to current players because it's a numbers game.
It's a literal numbers game. There's a lot.
You need some numbers for the players.
The thing is, you can have so many guys on college football teams. It's why sometimes
over
two guys on a team will have the same number. They have to announce like this. We're now putting number 7 who plays offense in the game instead of number 7 who plays defense. I disagree, actually, Brew, with if Jayden found out, and very well may be the case, because no one has worn 9.
No, and reportedly nobody's asked for it.
But let's just say that somebody had asked, and they were like, no. I do think it's totally fine if LSU's like, yeah, the threshold that Burrow reached is a higher threshold than you reached.
That's
it is clearly, but I still
to say that to like one of your like.
No, I'm just saying. I'm saying like if you would have standards of like, hey, how are we giving out numbers, and whatever and Jayden's reached we are not giving this out unless we feel like we have to appease a super important recruit, which clearly is what the
number 3
was.
last year and had a great year.
And I want to get into that as well in a second. But the standard for Burrow is a touch higher than that because he did what Jayden did, won the Heisman, and delivered what many people consider the greatest season in the history of that school. Like that to me is
I can see it being a little higher,
bit,
but I still would.
But the other, I'm not as bothered by Jayden caring as you guys. I don't actually think it's like really distracting him from the NFL. I am super interested in the coach politics of this whole thing. Because I think the last 2 head coaches at LSU have been almost cartoonishly stereotypical college football coaches in the best and worst ways. And I kind of like the little sub-story of Brian Kelly, in order to get this player, said, you can have number 5. You know what? You want it, you can have it.
That's what I.
Then the guy got there, and he's like, no, you can't.
Right.
Sorry, pal.
3.
And then, sorry,
That's
take
exactly
3.
what happened.
And then Lane Kiffin gets there and is like, well, I stopped, again, I'm paraphrasing, maybe this is a little unfair. I stopped caring about the Ole Miss kids 10 minutes after I left the school. Do you think I care about Jayden Daniels' feelings? You're on my team now. You can have the number.
Oh,
like
that's-
I find all of that to be super, like, kind of inside college football fascinating.
I know, and also, well, DJ Pickett's just a college player, but it's also weird. Like, I'd like Jayden Daniels' number, please.
I mean, that's what he wore, I
He
guess.
probably just wanted his number, which was number 5, and they're trying to win games right now in college football, and Jayden should be worried about winning games in pro football. Can they give away his locker? Is that okay? Does he have a seat at the lunch table they can't give away? Like, what else can't they give away that's going to make people mad?
Really.
I wonder if there is any, like, financial. I mean, I didn't.
Well, so that's what
I don't mind the name, image, likeness thing.
No,
If
but
it's
well,
his
that's for like,
name,
don't
his
put me on
likeness.
your, brochures to send it. I don't.
But if it's
Or
a money
make
thing,
sure I
I'm
get
sure
it.
LSU will
selling my
pay 'em.
number
Cut of
5
that or
jersey.
something.
Well,
Like, you go to Wisconsin, like 90, like J.J. Watt's jersey's there, and you buy it. Like, don't sell my jersey and then actually have another person
Well,
wearing
so,
it.
or I do, and again, this is me talking with no insight into how this actually works. I do wonder if there is a financial hit he takes as far as long as he's the last guy to have worn a number 5 LSU jersey under his whatever NIL deal it is, he gets a piece of it. But now, when they're selling, because if you're selling number 5 LSU with no nameplate on the back, now the other kid's like, no, it's my jersey.
Well, it's definitely not. I mean,
I'm
But they
guessing-
still are fully
I
within
guess.
their
Yeah,
rights.
you know
to
what I
give the
mean? And
number
so,
5.
but I also
They can
don't.
still give it
Of
away,
course.
you know.
No, but I also don't.
And they'll write him a check for whatever money he lost on his number 5 jersey sales. Like, go look at the last 5 years. Say, okay, LSU has a lot of money. They'll be like, oh, here you go, Jayden.
I just
That's
wonder.
fascinating.
I do wonder also how, like, LSU obviously is going to continue to promote, their football history, their Heisman Trophy winners, like Jayden Daniels' college career, as odd as it sounds, is not something he owns. It's like in the public sphere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like what the cease and desist, the way they are going to be allowed to use his image and the way they aren't is complicated because there are certainly some fair use ways they can use Jayden Daniels, highlights, history, stats, all of that, that he doesn't have ownership over.
Right.
And it's good to think long term, too. Like, hopefully his pro career will be wonderful. But at someday he may want to go back to LSU and capitalize on all the goodwill and great things that he did and be able to make money through that means. And this just seems like you're
He
burning
kind
a
of
bridge
addressed that with his
unnecessarily.
letter, and I think his little Instagram post was good.
coming up next, it's the most motivational segment in all of sports. Also,
This is
just
exciting.
a spectacular letter.
It's going to be great.
Bud list.
Mahomes just gave Texas Tech just all wears Mahomes jerseys now. It's just what they do.
I saw he rolled out a bunch of heights. Welcome back to First Things First. The Chiefs now have 2 Super Bowl MVPs on the roster. The addition of Kenneth Walker, Bucky Brooks listed Walker as one of the 5 best contracts of the offseason in a move that should add another dimension to the former champs. The lack of an efficient and explosive running game allowed defenses to sit in various too-high shells to take away the deep ball and force the 2-time MVP into a dink and dunk game that featured few big plays. That's Bucky Brooks on FoxSports.com. Nick, are we underrating Kenneth Walker's impact on the Chiefs this season?
I'm not, but I think the general public is. I'm going to use an example from our pre-show video.
Oh, wow.
Gianna has a fun little TikTok trend that she's trying to bring us into, even though I'm a grandfather and Brew was born in the 60s. She wants us to do TikTok videos.
I was. I never thought of it that as a bad thing.
No, I'm
until
just
the way that
saying,
sounds.
like,
My goodness.
but whatever, I get it.
Coach, were
Gianna
you born
wants
in
us
the
to, and it was 5 things that are worth the money.
Got you.
And I don't want to spoil the video, but one of KW's answers was,
Vacuum cleaner.
yes, but that's not the one I'm going to.
Okay.
Just stick with me for a moment.
Sorry.
His bicycle helmet.
Yes.
So KW and I both are cyclists.
That's not
Just wait
true.
a moment.
That's not true.
It is true.
I take
I
offense
ride
to that.
hundreds of miles a month. Hundreds of miles. However, for me, a bicycle helmet would not be a good use of money at all because I ride the bike indoors, stationary, a Peloton. Right. KW, meanwhile, is out on the street course, wearing, unitard and iridescent vest and all this stuff.
Correct.
So I say that to say, what is money well spent for one team or one person would not necessarily have the same impact or be money well spent for someone else. For a Chiefs team, that the only thing they've never had since Mahomes has been there is a bell cow running back, to have that for the first time in his career. They were going to have it Mahomes' first year as a starter when Kareem Hunt was there, but he was excellent, but he got kicked off the team. And then they thought they were going to have it with Pacheco, but he broke his leg. And then they drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the meantime. He didn't pan out. All those things. For this team who, over the last couple years, teams have totally disregarded the running game. They have stopped. They're not matching the Chiefs personnel-wise. They're like, you can be in heavy formation. We're going to still put our nickel defense out there because you can't run the ball. Mm-hmm. To add that with Patrick coming off the injury, with, I think, a defense that's going to be a work in progress, which means complementary football, lowering possessions, longer possessions, all those reasons, I think for Kansas City, this is such a bigger impact than adding the league's 11th best running back or wherever. I'm not arguing Kenneth Walker is a superstar. I'm just arguing he is a good professional running back. And when the Chiefs have, I think we can show it, the longest streak, no 1,000-yard rusher, the longest streaks. Mahomes' whole career, I didn't realize Justin Herbert's whole career, so credit to him on that. And then, the Saints have had a bunch of quarterbacks and then shorter streaks. I do think that impact coach is going to be absolutely massive.
Now, when Kareem Hunt was there in 2018, he had 181 carries for 824 yards and a 4.6 yards.
He was great, but they
average.
cut him mid-season because he had the domestic violence issue.
Right.
Okay, and then
so
Pacheco had 170 carries in 2022 for 830 yards and 4.9 yards.
Yeah, so that's when, and they won the Super Bowl. And that's when I thought they were going to have that guy, and then he broke his leg the next year.
Yeah, so now Kenneth has never had a average as high as this in a single season, but he is a very good back. And there's going to have to be a commitment to run the ball. And he's had over 200 carries most of the seasons that he was in Seattle. So maybe they'll be able to break over 200 carries for him this year. But the other part of running the ball is tight ends willing to block in the running game. That's important. Wide receivers, typically you want them to be part of the running game and be willing to block. So there's got to be a concerted effort by everybody to improve the running game. It's just not, hey, insert running back. Running back changes everything. Collectively, you got to work on it. You've got to commit to it. It's got to be collective. So,
and that's
I'm
where I think
curious to see
Bieniemy
whether
is
they will
important.
do that.
Because Bieniemy was in Chicago last year when they had the excellent running attack.
But do you have
in 2022,
personnel to do that? Like
so
Xavier
listen,
Worthy
I
and
think
Travis
Kelsey
getting
is.
hit?
I think Kelsey as a blocker has, throughout his career, it was the blocking. He is a far inferior blocker to Rob Gronkowski, who's one of the greatest blocking tight ends ever to go along being such a weapon. So I think because of that, Kelsey is almost regarded as a minus blocker at the position. I don't think that is the case. I think Kelsey's a totally adequate blocker. I don't think he's a dominant blocker. I think he's a totally adequate blocker. I think Rashee Rice is a fine blocker as a wide receiver. If they're going to run a lot of runs to where Xavier Worthy has to pick up the lead linebacker, that's not going to work. But there's plenty of teams.
No, but you just got to be willing to get in the way.
Yeah, but I mean, like the Eagles had a dominant running game with one of their top receivers being the same size Xavier Worthy. Like there's ways to.
Right, but that running back is a little different. Than
Well, they had
Walker,
it. No, but they had
stylistically.
it even pre-Saquon. You know what? Like you can have a small receiver out there and still have a good running game. I think Bieniemy's and the commitment to it and playing under center is a big piece of it, bro.
I think the addition is properly rated. I think people are looking at like this will help Mahomes. This should be good. But he's not Derrick Henry. He's not Saquon Barkley. He's a very good running back. And I do think it could help them. I want to ask you this, Nick. would you have rather, and I know it's not in the same realm because of money.
Yeah, but let's assume.
But would you rather have had, let's say you don't get a Kenneth Walker, you don't get like some very good running back, but you get a top tier or maybe tier 2.
So if they would have gotten Waddle, that's I think a fair comp. I would rather Kenneth Walker. But now if you're talking a tier,
but
clear
Waddle's
tier,
a good comp.
Waddle I think is a
Waddle's
fair comp.
That's interesting though, because Waddle is very, very good.
Waddle's very good, but whether or not he's going to be able to do it this year we're yet to be seen. I know the Chiefs can have the highest scoring offense in the league with a bunch of 3s and 2s at receiver. I saw them do it in 2022. Mahomes had 5,500 total yards. It was Juju, it was MVS, it was Hardman, it was Justin Watson. And Kelsey was 1,300 yards and an elite weapon. I understand that.
Going to the Hall of Fame.
No. Listen, and Kelsey is still there. He's not the same level player he was. I just think, I really think it was underrated last year how at the midway point of the season, other teams stopped respecting the run game at all. Yeah. And it's one of the reasons Mahomes, in my opinion, numbers fell off at midseason the way they did was there was no threat of the run at all. I think it'll be there this year. I think it's a hugely important addition.
What's amazing about that is typically if teams are playing 7 in the box, which is that split safety, you have an extra number in the running game. You outnumber them. You should be successful at a much higher rate running the ball in that situation, whether it's Kenneth Walker or somebody else. And this is so interesting because it's chicken or the egg. Very rarely do you think, we need to get 8 in the box in order for our Hall of Fame quarterback to be successful. You're
I don't
usually
think that's...
everybody's going to play 7 in the box, so our running back is going to look so much better and our runs are going to look so much better because they don't have the numbers to match our numbers.
Coach, I don't think they were popping off 4 yards a carry when it was 6 in the box. I think that teams were truly like, we know you just want to pass. Aside from, unless it's short yardage, you have no faith in your running game at all. And I think that'll be different this year.
I think it's interesting to see how it'll play out and fascinated by it. That you ascribe a lot of the Chiefs running woes to the running back himself, and coaches thinks it might be more of a system issue.
Well, it's the fact that he got sacked the most of his career, like at the highest percentage, and they didn't run the ball. It's probably a little deeper than just a running back. The O-line, the running, that's a group effort to hit both those markers.
I think it was cascading. I think it was Pacheco never was the same after the injury, and Kareem Hunt is good at one. It was great at one thing, 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, and
it's
it was
like a glorified tush push.
Right. I mean, he was elite at that, but that was it. So I think that was one thing. I think Andy was a little stubborn on simply never playing under center and doing under center runs, even though the rare times we did it, they were effective. I think that was a problem. And I think the fact that we were down, at various points in the year, we were on our 3rd right tackle, our 3rd left tackle.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Trey Smith gets, all of a sudden you're on deep reserve offensive linemen. You have substandard running back play. You're not really calling an offense that makes people defend the run, all those things. So I think all those.
Not playing as well as he normally does.
Correct.
Cascading, it makes sense.
No, that definitely was.
My new favorite word is multifactorial.
More than multifaceted?
Yeah, no, there's several factors.
Oh, okay.
Is that a real word?
Yeah, I heard it, and I'm going to use it all the time.
Have you looked it up, though?
No, I don't look it up. I just know it's a real
Have
word.
you copyrighted it?
No, but I should.
You should.
Josh, let's copyright multifactorial. What is Vikings ceiling with Kyler?
I have a great full screen coach is going to love.
Multifactorial. You got the defense. Coach, you know what I'm fascinated by?
Saturday night is baseball night in America. Brewers are hot. Dodgers just swept the Royals. Then you got the Snakes and the Braves and the Red Sox, who have decided to stop winning games, which I preferred.
Just against Toronto.
Now losing games. They look good. And the Pirates. This should be a W for us. Saturday, 7 on Fox. Welcome back to First Things First. Bucky Brooks was talking about the best contracts in the NFL. He cited Kyler Murray in Minnesota. They're only paying Kyler $1.3 million. Arizona's eating the rest. Brooks writing, with Murray still in his prime and fueled by the skeptics dismissing his return to prominence as a QB1, the diminutive playmaker can rewrite the narrative surrounding his name with a bounce-back performance in 2026. Here's an interesting stat about my guy Kevin O'Connell, former Patriot. He's tied for the best winning percentage at .632. He's also tied for the fifth best, yes. Fifth most starting quarterbacks with 8. Yep. So he's winning with everybody. Yep. Do you think he's going to win with Kyler? What is the Vikings' ceiling?
Their ceiling
with him playing well with Murray.
Yeah, I mean, I sneak into the playoffs, so I'd be surprised.
Sneak into the playoffs?
But I would be surprised by that.
Ceiling we're talking?
Yeah. I know the question. I was
Sneak
prepared
into the
for it.
Playoffs? What in the world?
So coach, I think, might be interested in this.
Okay.
Because I think there is a chance Kevin O'Connell, the head coach of the whole operation, everything, might be either properly rated or a touch underrated, while Kevin O'Connell, quarterback whisperer, might be wildly overrated. So Kevin O'Connell gets all this credit for what? Look at what he did with Kirk Cousins and look at what he did with Sam Darnold. So imagine what he's going to do with Kyler Murray. So I was like, what was Kirk Cousins doing when he had an old, curmudgeonly, defensive-minded Mike Zimmer as the head coach who didn't give a damn about the offense? Again, the team got way better the next year. How'd Kirk do? Well, they scored fewer points. His completion went down. Yards about the same. Yards per pass went down. Touchdown interceptions went down. And passer rating went down by a lot with the quarterback whisperer. It was the quarterback whisperer. And then they lost the playoff game to Daniel Jones. Kirk Cousins then the next. And by the way, the 2 years prior to 2021 under Zimmer, Cousins had a 102 and 107 passer rating. So I don't know if that was.
He played pretty well.
He played well, and then the team played its best under O'Connell. They lost playoff game, then Cousins got hurt. He moves on. Yeah, but look at what he did with Sam Darnold. What would Sam Darnold look like without Kevin O'Connell? I don't know. Win the Super Bowl? The team would score even more points. Now the touchdown interception ratio took a huge hit, but the yards per pass actually went up. The completion percentage went up. So I am just. Is it fair to at least question that whether or not Kevin O'Connell is going to have this massive career-changing impact on Kyler Murray when I don't know if that's what the evidence of. Clearly, they win games with him. Clearly, they can deal with a bunch of different quarterbacks. I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. But we think of him as like the quarterback whisperer type. I don't know if the evidence actually supports that in full.
And who are the other 6 quarterbacks that he won games with? Or did he just win games with those 2 guys that make up the bulk of his winning percentage?
They won one with Broussard, a couple
Carson
with the
Wentz, they were winning games. J.J. McCarthy was winning games.
Astronaut, yeah.
He was winning.
I mean, they won a few, yeah.
They went 9-8 last year with a patchwork quilt of quarterbacks that can't start.
Yeah, to Nick's point about the quarterback whisperer, if you draft a guy in the first round, which you were heavily a part of evaluating and signing off on, and then after was it year 2 or year 3?
No, this is year 3. It's after 2 years, 10 starts.
The start, really the start of training camp, we didn't even get into preseason games. You're moving on and you go get a veteran. That takes a little hit to your quarterback whisperer, and we'll see what he does with Kyler Murray. He hasn't had a quarterback like Kyler Murray. All those guys that we talked about, they're different types of players than Kyler is. Kyler, he has missed over half the games 2 out of the last 3 years. He's had double-digit interceptions. I think 4 out of the 7 years that he's been there. It hasn't been great in Arizona, and stylistically, will they lean into what he does well? So the things that he did do well in Arizona, will they lean into, or are they just going to force him to, you learn our system, you play our system, you do our system, and then is Kyler, is he off the, what is it?
The Call of Duty is
Call of Duty, like is he off that?
Haven't heard it.
Yeah.
Dusty hasn't seen him streaming.
Or are we back there? It could be a great second act, but.
I think the ceiling with him playing well is winning 1 playoff game. Because if he plays well, they could win that division. Their defense, we assume, with Brian Flores is going to be great. It's been top 7 the last 2 years. Obviously, they got tons of weapons. Not just the receiver. I mean, obviously, you got Jefferson, but then Jordan Addison. T.J. Hawkinson is a tight end. And running backs, I mean, Aaron Jones, but also Jordan Mason, was ran it well in San Francisco, over 5 yards a carry for his career. So they have all types of weapons. Defense is good. They could win that division, which could mean a light first-round matchup, as light as it could get in the NFC, and they could win that game. Murray was historically bad in his one playoff game, so I wouldn't see them being able to go much further than that. But if it works out for him, I can see like one playoff win.
It's not predictions week, but I'm very high on Kyler and the Vikings. If you go 9-8 with Broussard, won a game, he threw 51 yards. J.J. McCarthy is on the verge of being a backup, and Carson Wentz played 5 games with them. They didn't come in last, although it felt like they came in last. I think they can.
What?
I'm a defense wins championship.
Are any of those quarterbacks similar to Kyler Murray at all?
No, I think it's an upgrade. It's just you view it as a negative.
It's a great
having a mobile
quarterback.
If I was Kevin O'Connell, I'd be like, wow.
Yeah,
now I got a guy who can. Sam Darnold can move a little bit.
He wants a paint by numbers kind of guy, right?
If he's mobile within the context of the scheme. If he's mobile where I don't know where to go with the ball, I'm going to run around for 45 minutes.
Before you go, I'm going to give you the worst case scenario. Dusty, do we have the graphic no playoff wins in the last 6 seasons? For a team that has put up a few, double-digit win seasons.
Yeah, there's 2 teams on this graphic that should be ashamed, and it's the first 2 listed. The Steelers for a different reason, but
and the Chargers have switched over their coaching staff. Could you see something happening with?
I just know. I independent of all this is the underlying factor that I don't think Kyler Murray's an above-average NFL quarterback. I don't think he's one of the top 16 quarterbacks. I don't think he's one of the top 20 quarterbacks. And I don't think that it's been bad luck that has bedeviled him. He was in the 2019 draft. He came into the league 1 draft after Josh, 2 drafts after Patrick, a draft before Joe Burrow.
Arizona
we would have said that about Darnold, though.
But double-digit picks every time you play 14 games or more. That's not a great stat to follow.
Carson Palmer got to an NFC Championship game with Arizona. Kurt Warner got to the Super Bowl with Arizona.
Nice.
Yeah,
Anthony Richardson tonight. I'm excited for this.
That'll be fun. That's Nick's guy.
Yeah, Nick.
Guys, that's a little loved.
That's true.
Loved it.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.